In August of 2024, the town of Yarmouth will celebrate its 175th birthday. The ancient town of North Yarmouth was incorporated in 1680, and at that time it incorporated a number of modern-day towns, including Yarmouth, North Yarmouth, Cumberland, Pownell, Freeport, and parts of Brunswick and Harpswell. Over time, those towns split off, leaving only Yarmouth and North Yarmouth as the core of the central town from about 1821 onwards. And there were discussions of secession in those early years, starting really in the 1820s, as people realized, because of the geographical shape of the town, it was hard if you lived inland to get to the central services, religious institutions, educational institutions that were all clustered closer to the coast in the villages of Yarmouth as we know it today. And there were very different interests in the different part of the towns too. Inland in what is today North Yarmouth, the focus was on agricultural activities, whereas in today's Yarmouth, closer to the coast, people were focused on maritime industries, they were merchants, there were industries like mills in town, so the divide was sort of already established, even in the 1820s. And people were debating about whether the town should really split to make it more equitable for everyone who lived here. So in 1848, the secession discussion really took hold as the residents of the villages near the coast were interested in acquiring a new fire engine that could provide a bit more protection for the villagers. But the folks inland didn't want to pay for this. It wouldn't benefit them, and that really kind of seeded the debate that would really take hold in 1849. There were a number of town debates and votes that took place not far from where I'm standing. I'm actually at the Old Ledge Schoolhouse, right at the corner of West Main Street and Sligo Road. Beyond this, beyond the two brick schoolhouses that are here today, there was an old townhouse. That was basically the town hall in the mid-19th century. And a lot of these votes about dividing the town took place there. And in fact, one of the votes was so well attended, there were too many people that could possibly fit in the old townhouse, and so they had everyone go out onto the street. They had the folks who were in favor of dividing stand on one side of the street, those who were against it on the other side, and that's how they counted the votes. And it was like 277 to 177 in favor of dividing the towns. So there was a process of these debates and votes, and eventually the townspeople decided to divide the town. It was passed by the state legislature in early August of 1849, signed by the governor on August 8th, and then it took effect on August 20th, 1849. And there were a lot of things laid out in that document that decided how the town would be divided. How would they divide taxes that had already been collected? How would they split up funding for the schools? How would they deal with people whose land was on the dividing line? Ultimately, if you owned land on the dividing line, you could decide which side of the town you wanted to belong to, whether it was North Yarmouth or Yarmouth. And so that's really what happened. That's what we're commemorating here in 2024, looking back 175 years to Yarmouth's division from North Yarmouth.
As the community celebrates its 175th birthday, the town continues to develop transformative plans that will help guide Yarmouth into the future. 2024 marked the completion of two foundational documents, an updated comprehensive plan and the town's first ever climate action plan. Last updated in 2012, the town's comprehensive plan outlines policy recommendations and action items that frame Yarmouth's land use and development priorities. Over an 18-month period with constant community education, Yarmouth's Planning and Development Department, with an enormous amount of help from the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, finalized the draft 2024 update, which was formally adopted by the Town Council in June of this year. 2 years ago, prompted by brilliant and talented students from Yarmouth High School, the Town Council adopted a climate emergency declaration. The declaration called for Yarmouth to bring municipal greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2023 and to reduce community greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. The commitment also created the Yarmouth Climate Action Task Force, who helped author the first climate action plan, and that was adopted in March of this year. These two plans, paired with continual participation and insight from Yarmouth's residents, will help pave the way for a prosperous future. Happy birthday, Yarmouth, and here's to another 175 years.
Welcome everybody to Yarmouth's 175th birthday. We have a 3.5-minute presentation for you about how the split between Yarmouth and North Yarmouth happened, written by a fellow named Kent Pierce.
If I had to describe the state of affairs in this town in 1849, I'd use the word prosperity and opportunity. My name is Joel Brooks. I was the owner of a successful pottery business here in the village.
Extortion is a word that still leaps to my mind. My name is David Pratt, and I was a farmer on North Road.
Of course, some citizens might be remembered as petty,
Arrogant,
small-minded,
ruthless,
short-sighted.
Stop! For me, the word to describe my state that year was unbearable. I'm Mary Foster Brooks Pratt, and I was between a rock, my father, Joel Brooks, and a hard place, my husband, David Pratt. This was the year the residents of North Yarmouth voted to split the town into two separate towns, North Yarmouth and the town of Yarmouth.
Because it was the right thing to do.
It was not.
It was contentious.
It was balderdash.
It was a fair democratic vote.
It was indeed. 454 citizens showed up for the vote. It was decided with an unusual, if efficient, voting process. In front of the old townhouse, those in favor of the split lined up along one side of the road. Those opposed lined up along the other side. After an accurate count, the split passed by 100 votes.
The split was recognized by the state legislature and signed into law. It was majority rule.
More like mob.
By mob, are you referring to the folks who worked in the grain, lumber, paper, shipbuilding, and fulling industries? Workers who drove the engine of economic prosperity. What's so wrong with wanting basic services, like decent roads and a new fire engine?
Those folks wanted to pick the pockets of hard-working farmers who would not have benefited from improved roads in the villages, or a fire department that was too far away to save a burning barn.
My husband's real gripe was that our farm was not included inside the new boundary of North Yarmouth. Instead, it was set inside the town of Yarmouth and subjected to the public costs he so vehemently opposed. Unfortunately, David's opposition did not go unnoticed by the town's new leaders.
At the town of Yarmouth's first meeting, civic positions were assigned. My son-in-law was nominated to be the town's hog constable, in charge of capturing the stray swine. It was a very important assignment.
And I'm sure you had nothing to do with that.
Any insinuation that I was behind such a nomination is utter hogwash.
The high emotions of that time eventually subsided. We grew old and passed on, and eventually, people here soon forgot that there had ever been a time before the split. But now you know the story. So the next time you attend a town hall meeting, or see a fire truck, think of us and the town during the tumultuous year of 1849.